Tuesday, January 5th. Rundown. Dave and Kevin are on their way back from New York after the no?
I'm here.
Oh, no, Kevin. That's right. You are right there. Dave and Dan are on their way back from New York after the together rundown yesterday. So you got me and Keith. First off, Johnny Football is out of control. He was not photographed. There's a Snapchat video of him being sold to TMZ as we speak, of him in Vegas, where he went out in a disguise because he knew he shouldn't be out there because he had to be back in Cleveland Sunday morning. He had a blonde wig, a hoodie, a fake fucking mustache, and glasses. Keith, this was your boy. Is this still your boy?
I have a question first before we start, real quick for Kevin. How self-conscious were you picking your outfit for today's rundown?
This was going to be the after show. I was going to welcome Keith to the club.
I went with Old Faithful. I went with the hoodie.
All right, we'll save it.
I can't go that low. I got to keep it up here. I'm a neck up only kind of guy these days.
Kev, you were going to get invited to the club so hard, buddy. You're in the crew.
This always happens with me. I tell people these things up front, and they don't believe it. Like I was like, yo, I'm like the most out of shape piece of shit ever. And then I did the rundown, and everyone was like, oh my God, dude, you can't run. I was like, I told you that. I'm telling everyone. I've been gaining weight by the day after this pregnancy shit. I put on like 15 or 20 pounds. I'm telling you that's going to happen. And then you see me and you're like, oh my God. I'm getting fat.
Dude, I don't know. We gotta save it for the after show because we got a lot to talk about on that.
Angle.
Sorry. Johnny, listen, it was getting really hard for me to defend Johnny for a while because, he's my guy. I liked him. He was my guy even before Prez. I couldn't really stand up for what he's been doing all season, but this was the move. This is like, fuck it. If you're going to fuck up and keep getting in trouble and doing all this stuff, you got to go all out. You got to put on. I pictured him in those, like, the little glasses with the nose and mustache attached kits that you buy, just like walking around the craps tables drinking. Like, if you want to get out of Cleveland, if you don't care about getting in trouble, just do shit like this, and it's awesome. It's an awesome story.
This is the Feidelberg special. This is how Feidelberg deals with all of his girlfriends. Anytime you want to get out of the relationship, you're too afraid or you don't have the balls to break up, what do? You just act like a completely irrational asshole until they dump you.
Not a completely irrational asshole. You act like yourself. You act like who you are. You
Correct.
Don't go out of your way. You just do exactly what you want to do.
So Johnny's been doing that, and it's not working. He's like begging the Browns to break up with him, and they still won't do it. So we had to take it up a notch. Put on the wig, put on the mustache. I'm sure he told someone to videotape him. This is all just Johnny Football trying to get the fuck out of Cleveland.
The funniest part to me was the fake status updates. That was shit I used to do in college. Like, I had a long-distance girlfriend, and I'd, like, put up, like, an AIM away message, like, studying at the library or something on a fucking Thursday night when I'd be out at Potbelly's. Like,
he's
in Vegas. He's noticed in Vegas. There are reports all over Twitter he's in Vegas. And he just posts an old picture of him and his dog and puts hashtag Saturday nights. That's ridiculous. I don't know how any team can keep him after that. I guess Jerry's going to make a move at him. I think the Cowboys are the only team who can go after him. No one else can possibly handle the circus. And it's not even that the Cowboys handle the circus. They thrive on the circus. They love being the circus. They're not really handling it.
If the Jets hadn't originally passed on him during the draft, I would say there's always a chance that the circus comes to the Jets. But I think you're right. It's Jerry's world or bust.
The best part was Lewis and I were talking about this in the car on the way in this morning. Remember when Cleveland spent like $100,000, or maybe it was more than that, on studies before the draft to see who they should take, him or Teddy Bridgewater. And the study was like, unequivocally take Teddy Bridgewater. He is far better. He's got the mental capacity to play in the NFL. And they're like, appreciate it. Here's your check. We'll take Johnny.
Well, how bad does Johnny Football regret sending that text? Being like, yo, pick me and let's go. That was the worst thing ever for both the team and him.
He's the best. Next up, Twitter threatening to change. I guess it is a threat to 10,000 characters. I don't even think I can believe this, to be totally honest. But Kev, this was your blog, so I'm gonna go with you.
I thought the same thing, but then I read the article on some like nerdy tech website, and they said that when you send DMs, your limit is 10,000. So they're just gonna make that for your public ones as well. So there's at least like some standard for it that makes me believe It's not completely fake. It's horrible. It's a terrible idea. I was preparing for them to go like 280 or some sort of extension, just because that's how it works. Social media is always changing. I thought that would have been a terrible idea too. 10,000 is nuts. How long would a 10,000 character tweet be? Who would ever sit there and send a 10,000 character tweet? It's a terrible idea. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm 140 characters for life. If they do institute a new rule, I will impose my own limit of 140. And if you can't live 140 characters at a time in 2016, you got to get the fuck
You get muted. You're out. Muted.
Get off the planet.
Muted immediately.
You're gone.
Keith.
It blows my mind how stupid Twitter is and how they keep doing this. You have this thing that everyone in the world is on, everyone uses. It has so many uses for like breaking news, everything. Everyone is using this app and you can't make money on it. Not only that, you keep fucking up and making the people that like it hate it. The only silver lining in all of it is that Dave owns so much stock in it. That's what keeps me a little bit happy.
I will say, most of the time when the changes happen, there is the immediate uproar, and then like I can't imagine when I used to care about stars or hearts. Like that's fucking crazy to me to think back. What was that, like 2 months ago? And like I was actually upset that it went from stars to hearts to stars or whatever I forget which way it went. Stars to hearts. I don't care about that at all. Whenever they change like what the page itself looks like, people freak out. I can't remember what it ever looked like before, what it does now. All that stuff is forgotten. 10,000 characters would be constantly reminded to you. Every single time like some idiot updates is... What's that?
Yeah, think of all the annoying tweets you get. Like you have to follow people, so you just scroll past their little blocks. Now imagine that that's 10,000 characters long, just clogging up your entire timeline.
Yeah, how would the timeline even work? When like something funny happens and you just want to see everyone's reaction, and you got to scroll through like some fucking Twitter egg who's writing this kind of shit?
I mean, I would imagine that's an easy fix, like a picture where you click on it to expand more, but we'll pretend it's not like that.
No.
Twitter expert over here. I don't
know. Next up, Trump was in Massachusetts last night. The fucking guy, say what you will about him, he plays a crowd. I mean, he had like 4 guys in Brady jerseys behind him. He had the whole place hooting and hollering because he said that America needs more Tom Bradys, and we need to fire Roger Goodell.
Remember this, Tom Brady injured is still better than anybody else, okay? So remember. That is the coolest shirt. I got to get one of those shirts. That is beautiful. I love that. I'll tell you what, he's a champ and he's a winner, and that's what we need in this country. We need people like that.
Neither of those things are possible, but it works. Like I'm not pro-Trump, but I like what he's saying, if you know what I mean. Kevin, I imagine you don't.
No, I love this because this is WWF. When when like The Rock would be in a different city and he would either like make fun of the local teams, or praise that, whether he's heel or face. That's what Vince McMahon like built. That's why the WWF was so popular, was playing up to the local crowd, either digging at them or praising them. And this was, I mean, short of, what else could he say? Those are the two things. Like Massachusetts is now voting Trump. Maybe throw in like, I'll give you happy hour. We'll have happy hour. We need more Tom Brady, and fire Roger Goodell. And nobody cares about building a wall or fucking cutting out Muslims or any of that other shit. They're just
that's what politics is, Kevin. That's what politics is. Massachusetts is a constant blue state, right? I'm willing to lead the charge, to walk across the aisle and say, listen, Trump, you fire Goodell, you give me happy hour, you manufacture more Tom Bradys, and let's get those fucking Mexicans and Muslims out of here. That's what I'll say. I'm 100% on board with it. Keith?
Did you watch his video, the ad that Dan posted this morning?
I did watch the video.
That was awesome. Basically, it's just scare the shit out of everyone. It's genius. I mean, you got like Hillary talking about like capital gains tax. Like people in bumfuck the Midwest don't even know what that means. You just want to scare them. The Muslims are coming. The Mexicans are coming. They're gonna kill all of us. That's how you get votes. That's why he's killing the polls.
It's like night vision, them running over the fucking border and stuff.
You got to give them like guns and bombs and safety. Give Massachusetts happy hour and Goodell. It's just playing up to whatever the local crowd wants. It's incredible.
I think have you seen his quote in like People magazine that's been going around the internet, where like he literally said in '99 this is what he's gonna do. He's like, oh, I could run for president and get great numbers. He's like, I'd run in the Republican Party because they're the dumb ones. He's like, and all you have to do is use scare tactics and your numbers will grow huge. He goes, I guarantee I'd have huge numbers. It's literally what he's doing. It's unbelievable.
John, speaking of Brady, he's getting a little weird. That stuff you were tweeting last night with his diet and stuff.
I mean, he's not getting a little weird. He's been weird for a while. I think since
really like he's one of my favorite athletes of all time because of how hard he works and how great he is playing. But like all this stuff, like his crazy trainer, this like weird diet, it's like he's getting a little too weird for me.
They've all been around since like '06, I think. I think he's just now allowing them to give interviews and whatnot. The chef might be new, but he's been doing this kind of shit for a while. He's a freak. He's a lunatic. Absolutely. You don't win 4 Super Bowls being a fucking normal guy. You need Himalayan pink salt. What?
He's gone Hollywood for a while now. So
ever since he started when he married the most famous supermodel in the world, you kind of go Hollywood a little bit. Yeah.
Right. No, but so I'm saying like the pink salt and all that other shit, the white pants, like the whole outfit, the whole.
But I don't think that's not stuff like that's not Tom Brady's idea. He's just like he hires a personal chef and says, "Make me fucking healthy food." That's like the guy in the interview was talking about how Brady sent him to Cornell to take like a class to figure out, I don't know, what food is best for like to keep your joints not inflamed or some shit like that, so he's looser when he throws. It's like he doesn't pick the food; he just says, "Go find out what's the best for me." And that's the thing about having a personal chef, where like I bet his meals taste better than my like steak when I make one does.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like his like roasted root and lentil and buckwheat meal, probably more delicious than whatever the fuck I would make, like a chicken and ketchup.
I gotta start eating roasted lentils and buckwheat. I'll tell you that much.
I don't even know what the fuck those words mean in that order, but like that's what he eats. It's crazy. Buckwheat's a fucking TV character, but it's something he ate recently. Commercial break. Next up, to your teams, Kevin, or your team. What was he, the VP of the Mets?
He was like, one of those weird titles. More or less, he was like the head of player development and scouting.
He went to the Browns.
Yeah, he was the Moneyball guy. He was Jonah Hill's character in Moneyball, which is not fair, by the way.
I saw that picture. That's horrible.
Like, they just didn't even try to get someone who looked like him. They were just like, we like Jonah Hill, you're that guy.
In Hollywood, it's always like the guy ends up being way hotter because that's how it is in Hollywood. It's all the attractive people. They just chose a fat piece of shit to play like a pretty normal-looking guy.
Yeah, that's not fair. I'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? Is this what people think of me?
Imagine when we were all saying, like, we were praising Jonah Hill for his weight loss and for that role, and this guy's like, he's got a fucking 100 pounds to go. Like, he's not even close at the moment. But go ahead.
I'm sure, so he's a Moneyball guy, which is more about, like, talent and dollars and, like, a whole scheme to run your organization. So I'm sure that kind of translates a little bit to other sports. I think the guy played college football or has some sort of football background, so it's not like that absurd. But when you tell me that the Browns, like after another disaster season, were like, all right, let's go get the Mets scout. Not even like their GM, not like let's get the second-hand man to run our fucking football team. He only answers to like the owner or something like that. He's like way up there. It's a joke. It's just a fucking joke. Mets, Browns, the most unholy alliance I've seen. You couldn't even script it if you wanted to. It's just, for me as a Mets fan, I kept saying this is how bad it's gotten, where people don't even want to work for the Wilpons. They'd rather willingly, voluntarily go to fucking Cleveland, deal with Johnny Football in wigs and mustaches. And for Cleveland, how those poor souls do it, how they wake up every morning and still root for that team. God bless them.
Keith.
I love the move. What's the Browns' problem? Is they won't really admit that they have a problem. Like, they keep, like, pretending they're a normal franchise. They fucking suck, and they're at rock bottom, and you know you're at rock bottom when you hire a guy to run your team from a different fucking sport. Like, it's unheard of. Well, Kevin said, I'm sure he's really smart, and I'm sure he'll actually do a good job. I would be optimistic for pretty much any other team that this could be, like, a really cool, revolutionary move. Cleveland, you just know it's not going to work out.
They did the same thing. Like, this is their second revolutionary move in a row. They just promoted their general counsel, their fucking lawyer, to the head of scouting. A guy who has no football background whatsoever. Like, I believe it's head of scouting is what he was promoted to. It's like, I think they're just thinking everything they've done. They're Costanzing it.
Yeah,
Like, we keep hiring football guys, and it's just not working. So let's just hire a bunch of guys who have no experience whatsoever in this field, and we'll see what happens.
No,
I don't see how analytics work. Like, I get analytics. Like, Ben Cherington, when he left the Sox, I think the Columbus Blue Jackets tried to get him or something like that. Like, a hockey team tried to get him because I guess the analytics of baseball kind of transfer to, like, Fenwick and Corsi in hockey. I don't know where analytics come in football.
I think a lot of it is just money based. You know what I mean? So it's just like the amount of talent you get per dollar spent, really, which can always loosely translate no matter what. But you got to know who you're scouting and what you're doing, and you've been spending your entire fucking career watching baseball players. Come on.
Next up, hottest show out right now, Making a Murderer. I blogged about Anjanette Levy today. We now follow each other. We're
you son of a bitch!
Kind of dating. But we've all watched it, so I guess let's just go thoughts on it real quick, because it's a big Twitter discussion right now. Keith, what do you got?
I went into it wanting to think he was guilty, because like when everyone's all up in arms signing petitions, you kind of want to be contrarian, and like I knew I was being set up and that it was biased towards Stephen Avery being innocent. But even watching all the evidence and like reading transcripts and stuff like that, like completely objectively, there's no way that you can convict the guy. I believe definitely not Dassey. Dassey 100% should not be in jail right now.
Poor fucking kid is just a retarded person.
His lawyers tiptoe around it with the language the whole time, but he's mentally retarded and does not know what's going on. And you can't like just listen to him read what he says, and you can't put him in jail for that.
Dude, he admitted to raping, murdering, and mutilating women, and then goes, "Can I get back to sixth period now? I have a project due."
You didn't want to miss WrestleMania, John.
The WrestleMania. Bro,
you're going
was
to jail for
the
life.
thing.
You're not going to get to see WrestleMania.
Do you know he did get to watch 15 minutes of that though?
Oh, good for him.
When I read his full confession after, how after they had him draw the pictures and stuff, and then they sent him all the cops back the next morning, they asked him, they were like, "Now, did you get to watch wrestling last night?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got to watch 15 minutes of it."
Listen, have you guys read the stuff that was omitted from the documentary?
I've read it, yeah.
That's not good for Stephen Avery. It changes the discussion a little bit. So the fact that they just the main thing being that the bullet that they found in her was in his gun, came from his gun. That's kind of a big deal. He bought handcuffs and shackles like a week earlier. He had been like creepy with her many times before. Nothing that's like crazy overly like smoking gun, but it's weird to make this documentary. Well, I guess it's not. If you followed someone for 10 years and you have a point you're trying to make, and then all of a sudden there's this extra evidence that kind of ruins your whole angle, I guess you'd probably just omit it. But it is kind of weird when we're doing this. I guess the same thing with Serial happened, where there's other stuff going on that, the form of entertainment you're watching doesn't really report. But I'm with you, Keith, but at the same time, I don't give a fuck about Stephen Avery. He's a degenerate. He is the poster child for my movement of pre-crime. That guy is absolutely a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. He's going to rape someone or kill someone or molest someone. They said he molested the kid, too. Dassey, that was another thing they didn't put into evidence, that he sexually assaulted him. He murdered that cat. He doesn't own evidence. He doesn't own underwear. This guy sucks. I don't care if he's in jail for life. It's not like he was an upstanding citizen getting framed here. If I'm on the jury, I probably wouldn't convict, but I'm not upset at the fact that he was sent to jail.
He probably did it. I think he probably did it, but he didn't do it in the way. He was also set up by the cops. It was both.
I can agree with that. I feel like they were maybe like, we need to make sure we send this guy away. And
they're just fucking idiot Wisconsin cops, and they don't know how to frame anyone at all. Like, that was the worst frame job of all time. I guess it worked, so you can't say it's the worst frame job of all time. But there were so many fucking holes in that frame job. It's crazy.
How you don't move out of that town after getting out of prison wrongly in prison for 18 years is you're so stupid you deserve to go back to jail.
A few things. Just to play devil's advocate on what you said, I agree that they left out some major stuff. The first thing, they think that another Avery family member did it, so they would obviously have access to that gun, and they could have shot the bullet out of Steve Avery's gun. Second point with the handcuffs and stuff, there were no marks or anything on the headboard. Like everything was in perfect condition. So there was no rope fibers, there was no scratches or anything from handcuffs or anything. So yes, I agree. I agree you have to put important stuff like that into your big documentary, but just the other side.
So all of that stuff was basically just the retarded kid's account then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have, I've seen enough Law and Orders to know if you have someone tied to a bed, like they struggle to get out, and like he said, that would absolutely leave marks. So if he's fucking raping a chick for like a whole day,
I forgot that John is a headboard shackles expert.
Yo, it's just common sense. If you fucking tie something to wood and keep moving it nonstop, it leaves a mark in the wood.
Yeah, no, I agree. He was set up, but I just don't care. That's the thing. Everyone's like, free Stephen Avery. I'm like, I don't fucking care about some hillbilly in Wisconsin. He's a scumbag. Let him rock.
I was the same way with Serial, where like I just don't give a fuck about Adnan. Like so I totally get where you're coming from. Like I don't fucking care about Adnan.
Yeah,
I made that deal with Trump, but we got to get the Muslims out of here. So that's like step one. But I for some reason I like fat retarded white guys. Like I have like a connection with them.
Well, there you go.
Who knows why?
All right, that's the rundown. We're gonna.
Speaking of fat white guys,
I was gonna say fat
I
retarded.
guess we're gonna have to talk about Kevin and his baby weight.
but here's the thing. So I saw Kevin yesterday. You look completely normal in person.
Well, here's the thing.
You're not, just so everyone knows. But that, I saw the video as well.
Yeah, and this is why, I wish Dan was on the show today, because the big cat, big house picture was like, I took it. I was looking at it, and I just snapped it like being an asshole, thinking it was like kind of funny. And then I saw it on my phone, and I was like, oh my God, look how bad he looks here. The camera, that angle, I don't know. I mean, I'll stand up. I don't know. I think I look pretty normal. Like, I'm not like fucking ripped or shredded, but I'm not. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God. And I know it was bad because I was like, I've been saying to Caitlin for like weeks now. I was like, once we get the baby under control, like I really got to get things on, like gotta rein it in a little bit. And so I was like, that's it. Diet starts tomorrow. Look how fat I am. And she was like, you don't look like that. No. It's like, damn it. I absolutely must look like that. But Keith, I appreciate you going to bat for me. The problem is, though, you should never be in a situation where you can look like that.
Yeah,
Cameras, angles, you can say all layers, all you want. When someone looks at you and you look like that, it's a problem.
Gaz knew it too, sales guy, so this should come as no surprise. He set you up to do that. Because when it was done, he whispered down to me, he was like, Kevin's not going to be happy with that angle.
What a dick!
Because the light was coming in on you.
Yes, the lighting, the angle, and I'll be honest, I thought about that angle, and I just happened to be sitting in that chair before we started recording. I almost said, like, let's switch seats, but I thought then that would have been a thing. Then Dave would have, like, you know what I mean? Then the whole show would have been making fun of me for that. Probably should have done it anyway, though. Probably should have just bit that bullet. But listen, it's no carbs and skinny juice now for your boy. I'll be back. I'm losing 20 pounds real soon, so
I've been saying I'll be back for about 3 years now, pal. I've been doing the New Year, New Me for 3 years or so. We've been doing the weight loss challenges. Back is where I'm at now, and I always come back. Back's not where I used to be 20 pounds ago. This is back.
This is a whole new wrinkle, too, with having a kid. And I've been talking about this on Mail Time with my brother. I absolutely see why every average dude who has a family and gets old just gets fat. Because it's impossible. Like, there's no way when I'm sleeping like 4 hours a night and we're just like constantly trying to take care of the kid that I'm going to be like, I think I'm going to have some buckwheat. And, it's like, give me that fucking slice of pizza. Give me whatever I can to survive and pour another bottle of wine. So maybe I won't be back. Maybe this is just it. Maybe I'm just fat.
I mean, in your defense, not really in your defense, but to make you feel better, you were pretty clearly the third slimmest person there. I mean, so you were the slimmest person there.
Wait, what?
You were the slimmest person in that shoot, still.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you were fat, but you were still the slimmest person in that shoot.
So it was more just shocking that I looked as fat as I did, not that I was the fattest person on this.
Yeah, Dave and Dan both looked like. I mean, it was like remember when in the office when they're checking into the hotel for Jim and Pam's wedding, and Stanley says we have one queen bed, and Michael Scott goes, "Are you kidding me?" That's what I thought when I saw the two of them sitting on that couch. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
This big. I saw one commenter just said, "Winter weight does not even begin to describe what I'm looking at."
Dude, they were both. It was like Dan wore Dave's clothes and Dave wore your clothes. Both of them were just about to bust out of their stuff. It was insane.
Dan looked good. There was one screenshot in the beginning where I was particularly like slumped over, and Dan looked good. And then like 2 minutes into the rundown, I think Dan was holding his breath. I think he was just like. And then like 2 minutes in, he finally had to breathe again and look normal because he looked like two different people. It was unbelievable. But yeah, that was a rude awakening because I don't usually even watch the rundown, but I had to tune into that one just for punishment because that's the only thing that will ever kind of motivate me to lose weight is like shaming me publicly. So please, like send it all my way because that's the only hope I got.
I kind of got that at the Plunge for Pete the other day because I wore like short shorts and it was a disaster. Like just thinking about it right now makes me sick.
And then there's fucking K Marcos sitting over here, all like trim and healthy, like he's like sick. Like you're like 13 years old. You know when everyone's in shape when they're young? You still look like that. It's bullshit.
Thank you. That's nice.
You work out and shit, but you don't eat like you just eat whatever you want, right?
Yeah, no, I physically can't gain weight.
What a cocksucker!
I've been the same weight for 6 years.
God damn it!
Oh well.
Let's get one more dig in at an employee. At least in high school, he didn't look exactly like Adam Lanza. Did you see that fucking picture of Hank?
Oh,
I mean that's the Sandy Hill shooter. That's who's sitting downstairs right now. Sandy Hook shooter.
Poor Hank.
It's what he looks like. I'm not saying he did it. He didn't do it, but he looks like that.
Speaking of the rundown, my favorite part was how Dave's feet didn't barely touch the ground on the normal size couch.
Dude, what was that? Not a normal size couch. That was a mini couch. That was a tiny little that was a midget couch, and his feet were just dangling.
So,
and it makes no sense because over the holidays, First Lady was tweeting out those pictures of Dave where it looked like his legs were about 9 feet long, and now they've just shrunk. Now he's just got like little stumps.
His fucking feet were dangling.
How is that? No.
Dude, they were. He was like a kid in a car seat. He was just fucking.
I can't imagine sitting on anything where my feet would be dangling right now. I need to be like sitting high up on a table, like a countertop.
I totally forgot about that. His feet were fucking dangling off the couch. He was too fucking short for the couch.
oh man,
that's a guy who stands on his tiptoes in every single picture.
Yeah, got it.
Barstool Sports, we ain't the prettiest. Nobody ever said we're the prettiest. So,
all right,
that's it.